You slept enough hours, but your head still feels heavy. Your eyes are open, but everything in front of you looks like it's covered by a thin layer of fog. It takes a few minutes, sometimes even much longer, for your brain to fully come online for the day. So many of my patients over 60 have told me, "Doctor, I don't get it. I sleep 7 or 8 hours every night. I eat just fine. But every morning, I still don't feel truly awake." If you've ever thought this was just a normal part of getting older, I want you to pause for a moment. Because the truth is, your body is still trying to repair itself every single night. It's just missing the exact things it needs to finish that job. After age 50, and especially after 60, the brain and eyes don't repair themselves as easily as they used to. During the day, they're under constant pressure: light, screens, stress, nonstop information. And at night, when you're lying still in bed, that's when these two organs step into their most important shift: rebuilding, cleaning up, and restoring. Here's the problem. Many older adults believe that as long as they sleep enough, that should be enough. But sleep alone doesn't automatically bring recovery if your blood lacks key nutrients, if your blood vessels aren't flexible enough to deliver oxygen, and if your nerve cells don't have the raw materials they need to repair. So what happens? You don't crash overnight. Everything changes slowly. Your memory gets a little less sharp. Your eyes need brighter light to see clearly. Reading at night tires your eyes faster. In the morning, it takes longer to feel alert. Small changes, but they add up over the years. My name is Dr. David Warren. I'm 60 years old, and I've spent more than 3 decades working with older adults, not just in the clinic, but in their everyday lives. What I've learned is this: aging isn't about shutting down. It's about needing smarter support. In today's video, I want to share a very different perspective with you. Not medication, not complicated methods, but how a group of very simple, often overlooked foods can support your brain and eyes at exactly the right time while you sleep. If you've ever woken up feeling like you weren't fully recharged, the problem may not be your sleep itself, but what your body is or isn't getting before you go to bed. Point 1. At night, your brain and eyes need oxygen flow, not just deep sleep. When we sleep, the brain doesn't shut down. In fact, it enters a very special phase: cleanup and repair mode. During this time, blood needs to flow smoothly to the brain. Oxygen needs to reach areas stressed all day long. The retina needs enough energy to repair light-related damage. After age 60, blood vessel walls become less flexible. That means even if you sleep enough, nighttime oxygen may not fully reach where it's needed. I often tell my patients this: sleep is like a maintenance window. But if the pathways are narrowed, the repair crew can't bring in all their tools. When nighttime circulation improves, many people notice lighter head in the morning, less dry, gritty eyes, less of that "it takes a few minutes to wake up" feeling, more stable short-term memory in the morning. It's not dramatic. It's more like, I feel better today. Instead of trying to sleep longer, start paying attention to your evening meal. The principles I usually recommend: eat a lighter dinner, not too late. Avoid foods that tighten blood vessels. Too salty, too spicy, too stimulating. Favor foods that gently relax blood vessels and support oxygen flow. You don't need to eat more. You just need the right type at the right time. At 60, I used to think, maybe I just need more sleep. But when I adjusted my dinner and nighttime rhythm, I realized something important. The body isn't lacking effort. It's lacking the conditions to recover. If you've been pushing through morning fatigue, remember this: your body isn't working against you. It's waiting for the right kind of support. Point 2, after 60, nighttime blood vessels are stiffer than you think, and the brain and eyes pay first. When we're young, blood vessels act like soft rubber tubing. They expand and contract easily, delivering blood and oxygen exactly where needed. But over time, especially after 60, vessel walls thicken, elasticity declines. The ability to relax becomes less responsive. During the day, the body can compensate. But at night, when heart rate slows, the brain and retina can slip into mild, prolonged oxygen shortage. Mild oxygen shortage doesn't cause pain. It doesn't cause dizziness. But it slows everything down, from information processing to visual clarity. When nighttime circulation is supported properly, older adults often notice Mornings without that "my brain isn't on yet" feeling. Faster, light adjustment for the eyes. Less dull pressure or tension in the forehead. Easier reading of small text, especially later in the evening. What matters is this: these improvements come from within, not from medication or devices. One common mistake I see is this: people focus only on daytime habits and forget that nighttime is when blood vessels most need to relax. Some principles I often suggest: avoid heavy, protein-dense dinners that are hard to digest. Limit salty foods in the evening. Choose mineral-rich foods that gently help vessels stay flexible. Not to stimulate, but to allow blood vessels to rest and work more efficiently during sleep. I once had a 72-year-old patient tell me, "Doctor, I'm not in pain. Nothing's wrong. But my head just feels slower than it used to." After adjusting his evening habits and supporting nighttime circulation, he came back weeks later and said, "I didn't get younger. I just feel smoother." And that's the word I often use with older patients: smoother, when the brain and eyes receive steady blood and oxygen, just as they're meant to. Point 3. The retina doesn't rest at night. It quietly repairs thousands of tiny injuries. Many people assume that when we close our eyes fully rest. But in reality, the retina becomes very active at night. All day long, it absorbs sunlight, artificial lighting, blue light from TVs, phones, and computers. Each source creates microscopic oxidative stress inside retinal cells. Nighttime is when the body neutralizes free radicals, repairs damaged cell membranes, rebuilds light-sensitive layers. After 60, this protective ability weakens, especially without the right antioxidants for eye tissue. When the retina is well supported during sleep, older adults often notice less eye fatigue when reading or watching TV, less glare sensitivity outdoors, better vision in low light settings, less of that feeling where the eyes get tired before the brain does. Many describe it perfectly: "My eyes don't wear out as fast as they used to." The key isn't using more eye drops, it's nourishing the retina from the inside, providing antioxidants before bed when repair begins. Practical guidelines: don't eat dinner too late. Avoid strong light 60-90 minutes before sleep. Include foods rich in natural pigments that protect eye cells. It doesn't need to be complicated, it just needs to be well timed. I often tell older patients, if you use your eyes to live during the day, you have to give them the conditions to recover at night. When the retina rests properly, the brain feels lighter, sleep goes deeper, and in the morning, you don't have to force your eyes open anymore. Point 4. When your eyes can still see, but your brain feels slow, the problem is the nerve connection. There's something I see very often in patients over 60. They tell me things like, "Doctor, I can still see the words, but I read much more slowly." Or, "I see the object, but my brain needs an extra beat to catch up." This isn't really an eye problem. It's a problem with the nerve connection between the eyes and the brain. Every image you see has to travel through the retina, the optic nerve. The brain's processing centers, for that process to be fast and smooth, nerve fibers need a protective coating called myelin. After age 60, that coating is more likely to thin out, develop tiny areas of damage, lack the nutrients it needs to repair itself. When that happens, the signal still gets through. It just moves more slowly. When the nervous system is properly nourished at night, many people notice reading feels smoother. Following movement is easier. Cars, TV, people walking. Less lag when shifting from seeing to thinking. Clearer and faster visual memory. That's why some people say, "It's not that I see that much better, it's that I understand faster." The nervous system repairs itself most effectively during deep sleep. That's why the right approach is to avoid heavy meals close to bedtime, skip alcohol in the evening, prioritize nutrients that support myelin and nerve signaling. The best time to support the nervous system is 1 to 2 hours before sleep, when the body begins shifting into maintenance mode. You don't need high doses. You just need consistency aligned with your natural rhythm. I once told a 68-year-old patient, "We don't need to make your brain young again. We just need to help the signal travel the right path at the right speed." When the pathway is clear, the brain doesn't have to strain, the eyes don't have to compensate, and you no longer feel like you're always one step behind the world around you. Point 5. Nighttime recovery works best when the brain, eyes, and nerves move in the same rhythm. The human body doesn't heal in isolated pieces. It heals according to biological rhythm. In the evening, especially in the hours before sleep, three systems begin working closely together. The circulatory system slows down and delivers oxygen more selectively. The nervous system shifts from processing to repair. The eyes and brain enter a phase of cellular regeneration. In people over 60, the problem is that these systems often fall out of sync. Eating dinner too late, digestion competes with the brain for resources. Bright evening light, the brain struggles to enter repair mode, missing foundational nutrients. Cells lack the materials they need to rebuild. When the rhythm is off, nighttime recovery becomes fragmented and inefficient. When these systems are brought back into alignment, older adults often notice feeling sleepy more naturally with deeper sleep, fewer nighttime awakenings, waking up alert without urgently needing coffee, eyes and mind coming online faster within the first 30 minutes of the day. It's not a rush or a buzz. It's a feeling of stability and confidence. I often suggest a very simple framework. 6 or 7 p.m., a light, easy to digest dinner. After eating, gentle activities, avoid harsh screen light, 1 to 2 hours before bed. A repeating wind-down routine, soft lighting, slower breathing. You don't need to be perfect every day. Consistency matters far more. Older bodies respond extremely well to safe, repeated signals. I always tell my patients, your body doesn't need you to control it. It needs you to synchronize with it. When you eat, rest, and relax in rhythm, the brain does its job, the eyes repair themselves, and the nervous system slowly regains its natural smoothness. Point 6. Simplifying nighttime recovery into a small habit your body can trust. Older bodies don't like sudden changes, but they respond beautifully to gentle, familiar, repeated cues. When you follow the same evening pattern, the brain recognizes it's time to repair. The nervous system lowers its guard, blood vessels relax in rhythm, the eyes enter a deeper regeneration phase. This isn't a hack, it's how the nervous system learns to trust the environment enough to heal. People who maintain a simple evening routine often notice falling asleep more easily, with less tossing and turning, fewer middle-of-the-night awakenings. Waking up without that heavy-headed feeling, eyes feeling clear sooner, the mind catching up faster. It doesn't happen overnight, but after a few weeks, the body starts doing the work on its own. Here's a practical evening framework for people over 60. Eat a moderate dinner. Don't go to bed overly full. Dim household lights after 1 to 2 hours. Keep routines consistent. Same time, same space, same feel. Avoid strong stimulation, stressful news, arguments, bright screens. You don't have to do everything. Just choose 2 or 3 things you can do every night. At 60, I don't try to optimize my body. I try not to interfere with its natural recovery process. When you remove the noise, the body finds its balance again. Final thoughts. If you remember just one thing from this video, let it be this. Your body has not given up because of age. It's still working every night. It just doesn't always have the right conditions to do its job well. After 60, the brain, eyes, and nervous system recover more slowly, but recovery is still possible. What matters most is whether nighttime oxygen can flow properly, whether the retina is protected from accumulated damage, whether the nerve pathways between the eyes and brain have enough nourishment to maintain speed. These things don't happen during the day. They happen in the quiet hours of the evening and during sleep. I've heard many patients say the same thing. Doctor, I don't want to be young again. I just want a clearer mind, less tired eyes, and easier mornings. And my answer is always the same. Start with your evenings. You don't need to change your entire life. You don't need a complicated routine. You just need a lighter dinner, a more consistent daily rhythm, an evening habit your body can trust. When you do that, the brain does its part. The eyes repair themselves, and the nervous system gradually returns to its natural smoothness. My name is Dr. David Warren, If you're over 60 and want to live with clarity, confidence, and independence, you're in the right place. If this video gave you a new perspective, consider subscribing to join me in future videos. I'm here to share what's simple, science-based, and practical for healthy aging. And finally, one important reminder. This video is for educational purposes only and does not replace personal medical advice. If you have underlying conditions or take medications, please consult your healthcare provider before making changes. Thank you for listening. Wishing you a calm evening and a night of truly restorative sleep.